Welcome to Rachel Ray's Yummo cooking camp. What's that? Okay. Well, as camp director, she gets to make the rules. So let me pause for a second and welcome our camp director, Rachel Ray.
Duff, how much do I love you? Thank you for being counselor for the day. Kids and families literally around the world, I hope you're psyched because this man is so sweet. He knows how to show you how to make sweets today. I think Duff's got fudge planned for you guys. But he is absolutely the coolest, and I know he's going to give you guys a really fun time at camp today. Enjoy, everybody. Stay safe, and I love you, Duff. Thank you for doing this. Mwah!
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Everybody, please give a huge welcome to Duff Goldman. Hey, Duff, what do you say, my man?
Welcome to Fudge Camp!
What are we doing today, and what should we have in front of us, and how can we be ready to make this great recipe?
All right. So I love fudge. Fudge is one of my things. It's like...
Duff, we may have lost you there. I think we may be having a little bit of trouble with your camera. Are you... All right, there I see you, Duff, and you're moving in it. You look...
All right.
Great. Beautiful.
So everybody here?
Yep, I think we're ready to go. Let's try this again.
Okay, cool. All right,
Cool.
So where was I? I think I was talking about the pantheon of candy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what I was saying was there's a lot of good candies out there. My favorite candy in the world, I think, is gummy sharks, but that changes. You know, sometimes I like other kinds of candy. But fudge is definitely up there. It's one of my favorites. It's super rich, and it's really, like when it's done right, it's really smooth, really rich, really creamy, and super delicious. All right, so I say we get started. So the first thing you're gonna do is turn your oven to 350 degrees, right? So I'm gonna turn that on. And now I'm gonna chop some walnuts, okay? The thing is that you wanna make sure that you have like smaller walnut pieces as opposed to like big whole walnuts. Because you don't want like a whole mouthful of walnut in your fudge. And then when you go to try to cut the fudge, if you have these giant pieces of walnuts, the walnut will sort of like mush the fudge. So if you have smaller walnut pieces, then your fudge is going to be easier to cut and more enjoyable to eat. But you want to make sure that you cut the walnuts before you toast them. And if any of you guys watch Kids Baking Championship, you guys know, always toast your nuts. It is super important, right? The nuts are good, right? Walnuts are fine right out of the package. But when you roast them, they get crunchy. All the oil, which is where the flavor is, all that oil comes out, so you really taste them a lot more. So I'm just giving these guys a little chop, a gentle chop, right? I'm not turning them into dust. I'm not going to put them in the food processor, so then like, you know, you get like walnut, you know, powder, walnut flour. That's not what we want. We want that texture. But you want to do this before you roast them because smaller walnuts means more walnut surface area. And then when you toast the walnuts, you get more toasted surface area, which is like the part that tastes the best. So just give these a little chop, and then just like that. Okay, and then pick up the cutting board and onto a sheet pan that I got some paper on. All right, now my oven's at 350 degrees, so I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes, and then let me do that because I'm notorious for burning stuff. All right, so these are going in right now.
Hey, Duff, we got a question whether any other kind of nut would work in that recipe as well.
Any kind of nut will work. Pistachios will work. Peanuts will work. Almond, macadamia nut, pine nut, which is also the name of a town. Peanut, pistachio nut, green pistachio nut, all natural white pistachio nut. Anybody know the movie? What movie? What movie is that? Anybody? Anybody?
I don't see it popping up.
Nobody knows what movie that's from. We have 6,000 people on here, and nobody has seen Best in Show.
Wait, you're not going to walk off set, are you, if that's the case?
All right, go watch Best in Show. It's really funny. It's a really funny movie. Best in Show. Everybody write it down. I'm going to wait. Okay. Now, so walnuts are in the oven. They're toasting. And the thing is that I have a timer going, but I'm not going to really rely on the timer so much. And I'm not really going to rely on my eyes so much. I'm going to rely on my nose. I'll smell when the walnuts are right. So when the smell gets really nutty and really delicious, that's when I know the walnuts are ready for fudge. Okay, so I'm going to get my pot because it's really important. Okay, so here's the pot. I have a nice big pot here. This is like an 8-quart pot, something like that. And I'm going to dump my chocolate right into the pot. Okay, just like that. All right, now this part's really important. What I want you to do is take your condensed milk. I'm like a little out of focus.
We call that soft focus.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that a little better? Yeah, a little better. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the sweetened condensed milk, and it's really thick and sticky. So what I'm going to do is get the condensed milk off the lid, and then I take the can and I turn it upside down and put it right onto the chocolate, just like that. And what's going to happen is all the sweetened condensed milk, instead of having to dig it out with a spoon or something like that, all the milk will just start like coming out of the can and go right into the chocolate. So I'll do that with this one too. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you ever want to make dulce de leche, right? Everybody likes dulce de leche. If you ever want to make dulce de leche, you take this can, don't open it, right? Just take the whole can just like that, before you've taken the lid off, and put it in a pot of boiling water for 3 hours. That's it. That's how you make dulce de leche. Sweetened condensed milk, and you boil the whole can, and it cooks right in the can. And then you let it boil for 3 hours, and you got to keep an eye on it. So you got to keep adding water in case all the water goes away. And then when it's done, you'll have sweetened condensed milk. Funnily enough, they also cook when you get a can of tuna. The tuna is cooked in the can as well on the boat. Crazy, right? All right. So I got some salt. Really important. Don't forget the salt. I'm not going to put the vanilla in yet. The reason why, you don't really want to cook vanilla. Vanilla is mostly alcohol. And so if you put vanilla in something like this, what happens is all the alcohol evaporates and then all the vanilla flavor goes away. So you want to make sure that you put the vanilla in when you're done. Okay. So I am going to drop my stick of butter right in here. Now, I like room temperature butter. It just goes quicker. But if your butter's cold, it doesn't matter because you're sticking it on the stove. Right? And make sure you get like all the little butter bits off. Butter's expensive. Use it all. So there you go. You can use your finger. It's fine. Okay. Let's check this milk. Yeah, look at that. So now the whole can is all empty, and I don't have to get in there and scrape it out. It's a big pain.
Awesome trick. Love that.
Yeah, cool trick, right?
That's really cool. Yeah.
Okay. So I have some friends watching right now. Iris Fisher. I don't know if you know this, but your mom taught me a whole lot about art. And she is one of the best artists I've ever worked with. And I saw a picture of you wearing a Team Duff shirt. Sweetheart. So Iris, next time I'm in Baltimore, you got to come to the bakery and we'll hang out. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's all the stuff for the fudge. Now we're going to go to the stove, and we're going to have to take my computer and the camera and everything to the stove so you guys can watch this happen. So give us a sec. All right, so here's my pot of stuff. Now, pay attention to this part. I'm going to turn on the heat, but not super, super duper hot because chocolate's really sensitive, it'll burn. Everything in here melts really easy, right? Chocolate melts really easy. Butter, I mean, you put it in your hand, it's going to turn to liquid. And the sweetened condensed milk is already liquid. So you really don't need a lot of heat. If you get too much heat, what will happen is the chocolate's going to burn. Now, this part, you got to be a little burly, right? You got to, like, this is a little hard. So you're going to have to do this together. You got to be really, really, really careful because you got heat under here, but you still got to hold the pot, right? So you got to make sure not to burn your little fingers, but also you're going to be holding a towel. You have to make sure the towel doesn't hang down and catch on fire, okay? So be careful. All right, so now you can see it's already, all the chocolate's already melting really fast. It doesn't take a lot of heat at all, and this doesn't take long. So the whole time this is on the stove, you want to keep it stirring, right? You don't have to go super fast. You just want to make sure you keep it moving, because if you don't, the stuff on the bottom is going to burn. So just go nice and slow and just keep all your massive stuff moving around, and you'll see it'll eventually all start to become one color. Right now, like, you go in there and it's like, there's butter, there's sweetened condensed milk, there's chocolate, there's all this stuff. But as you melt, everything's going to become homogeneous. That's what that word means, homogeneous. It's when everything comes together and you have like a liquid or a solution or something that is all the same all the way through. Let's just keep it moving. Keep it moving, people.
Duff, while you're keeping that moving, we have a question from Mikey, who is in Aurora, Colorado, asks, can you use white chocolate instead of what you use there?
Okay, so Mikey in Aurora, Colorado. I used to live in Vail. Colorado is great.
And hold that thought while we get back.
All right, sorry guys. I live in the woods. We have terrible Wi-Fi. Okay, so what you want to do now, let's check those walnuts. Check it out. So they're like nice and like brown. So now these are ready to go. Okay, and you can smell them. It's like this really like intense sort of walnut smell. All right, I'm gonna turn this heat back on and keep stirring this. I want to keep stirring my fudge so it gets really shiny, right? So it's gonna be like a little dull, and you'll see it's kind of like a little, I don't know. It just doesn't look like super smooth, right? When you think of fudge, you think of like really smooth, really soft, like, you know, really like a nice candy. But if the fudge, when you're looking at it in the pot, doesn't look really smooth, then it's probably not going to be smooth when it cools off. So you want to keep the heat on and then just keep stirring this stuff until it starts getting shiny. Right? So you stir it, let it sit for just a sec and let it kind of like settle and look at it. Right? And now it's starting, you can see it's like easier to manipulate. And it's starting to get nice and shiny. All right, and that's what you're looking for.
That's looking good.
Looking good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it goes. So now you can see, like right here, you see where it's starting to get really smooth? What really close. All this is you're just trying to bring the temperature up to a point where everything has melted and has combined really nice. So there it goes. And now we're good. Okay. Now it looks like fudge. All right. So let's go back to the big table, and I'm going to show you how to mix everything up.
All right, cool. And while you're doing that, I know Ryan Nathan is having his first taste of fudge in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Ryan, this is your first of many, I assure you. You'll be asking mom and dad to stop in every fudge shop up and down the East Coast soon, my friend.
Your first fudge?
That's for Ryan Nathan in Hendersonville.
You can only have your first fudge once. This is really exciting.
So true. That is a truism in life, Duff.
Well, I hope fudge. I mean, this is like, now the pressure's on.
Well, you know what's cool about fudge is the first fudge actually we saw in history, like in 1880, a guy that fudged up a batch of caramel.
Huh.
Yeah, 1880. He messed it up and he invented fudge. So look, if something goes wrong today, you may have invented something brand new. Think about that.
If something goes wrong, it's still going to taste awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, so now here's my liquid fudge, and now I'm going to add my vanilla. And I'm going to stir that in there. And then as soon as you add the vanilla, you're really going to smell it because the fudge is still really hot. There it goes. And as soon as you add it too, it gets a lot smoother too, and it really gets kind of luscious.
Yeah, nice.
All right. Oh, I got a shout out to Bella Fisher. How's it going, Bella? So I don't know if you met Art, my buddy Art, but he's one of the best hockey goalies in the whole world. Try to get him to play one day. All right, so there we go. It's super, super soft. Now we're going to add the walnuts, and I'm going to show you a cool trick.
We love tricks.
All right, so here's the walnuts. Now, instead of like holding the tray and like trying to get all the walnuts to fall off the tray, what I'm going to do is grab the corners of the paper and slowly get the walnuts to go to the middle like that, right? So I have like this line of walnuts. And then I'm going to grab the paper and pick it up just like this. And then go right into the thing. And that way you don't make a mess.
Walnut slide in the house.
Walnut slide. All right. Put these in here. Now, we got to stir in these walnuts. And this is still really hot, so be careful. Don't spill it. If you get some on your skin, don't go wipe it off, because then you're just going to spread it out and you're going to burn even more. If you get some on your skin, just take the pain. Take the pain. What movie is that from? Anybody? Platoon? Okay. There
We're 0 for 2, Duff. We're letting you down. We're 0 for 2 on the movie.
I know, man. You guys don't watch movies?
Oh my gosh.
All right. Okay, so now we have walnut fudge, and now you can really smell it. So the walnuts are really warm, and they're mixing with the chocolate, and you're getting that like chocolatey vanilla walnut smell. This is when it gets really delicious. All right, so here is a pan. All right, and what I did, I got paper. I sprayed the pan, I stuck the paper to it, and then I sprayed the paper. You don't have to spray the paper if you don't want to, but it helps when you're trying to get the paper off of your cooled fudge. All right, so now I'm gonna pick up the pot, and I got my pan here, and you just wanna get all the fudge into the pan. Now, if any of the fudge is like kind of burnt and stuck to the bottom of the pot, don't scrape it off. Just leave it on the bottom of the pot. Don't try to get all that stuff into your fudge, because then it'll taste burnt. So just leave it there. But if you did it right, like TV's Duff Goldman, then it won't be stuck to the bottom of the pot. Okay. Put this over here. Oh, I'll show you guys another trick. So your pot's going to be kind of dirty. It's going to have all this fudge. So what you do is take the pot, fill it up with water, and put it back on the stove and turn it on. And then what will happen is, as the water heats up, it'll clean the pot for you, so you don't have to like scrub it out or anything.
Wait, did you just sneak in a recipe for fudge soup?
Fudge soup. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
really good with chicken.
Guys, this is a 2-for-1 camp session.
For
Fudge
really,
and fudge.
really good with chicken. All right. So I'll let that go. All right, now I got an offset spatula. If you don't have one of these, you can use the spoon. I have one, and it's easier to do, so I'm going to use mine. But if you don't, it's okay. Just spread it out with the spoon. So I'm going to get all this fudge. Like that's a whole piece of fudge right there that I'm getting off the spoon, right? So, definitely scrape everything. You don't want to waste this. All right. Okay, now, very gently, you want to spread the fudge so it's nice and even all the way through the pan. Just like that. Okay, so spread it out really good. And make sure to go all the way to the corners. All you hockey players know how important those corners are.
Mm-hmm.
You got to own those corners. Got to own them. All right, so.
Show those corners who's boss.
You got to. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. What movie is that?
Wait. Give us the quote again. We got to get one of these.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
We are striking out.
You never seen Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome?
One of my
Tina
favorites.
Turner?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Bro, she was brilliant in that film.
Bro.
She got nominated. What for? I don't know, but she got nominated.
Hello, Raggedy Man. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was awesome in that.
Okay, so look at our fudge. Now it's all smooth, all flat. Don't lick the spatula. It's insanely hot. Don't lick the spatula.
Hey, so that brings up a question that came up. Is that why we see so many fudge masters using marble slabs?
Yes and no. Okay, so the fudge that we're making here is one kind of fudge, right? This is a fudge that we can melt on the stove, add stuff to it, put it in the pan, chill it, and it becomes fudge. The fudge that you see the guys with the big slab and they're doing this, right? And they're spreading it all around. That's actually a different fudge method where you are crystallizing the sugar. So what you do is you actually cook sugar up to, I think it's soft ball state. And then, so you cook the sugar so it gets really, really hot. It's not caramel yet, but it's really hot. Then you add butter and chocolate and all your stuff to it. And then you put it on a marble and you start doing this, right? And you agitate the fudge. And what that's doing is the sugar is going to want to crystallize because you put all this weird stuff in there, the chocolate and the salt and all this other stuff. So the sugar really wants to crystallize. If you keep the fudge moving, it keeps all those crystals really, really small. And that's why fudge is really soft and rich and smooth and velvety. If you put all that stuff in the fudge and then just let it sit, your crystals are going to be really big and the fudge is going to be like chunky and dry, which is not what you want, right? You don't want chunky and dry. You want smooth and silky. Okay, good question though. All right, so now I'm going to take this fudge and stick it in the fridge for like an hour. Okay? But I just happen to have a fudge right here that I made last night, so I can show you guys how to get it out and how to cut it.
Nice. When you're storing fudge, do you have to keep it refrigerated, Duff, or can you keep it right on the countertop?
All right, so if you're gonna make this fudge, you can keep it in the fridge. If your house is like, if it's gonna be like, 72 in your house, it's fine on the countertop. But if you want to be safe, keep it in the fridge. It's not going to go bad on the countertop. It's just going to be softer than it would if it was in the fridge. Okay, so now I have this piece of paper that goes like all the way or this way. So I have a piece of paper that goes down one side, across, and then up. Right? So what I'm going to do is grab the two sides and just lift it out of the pan.
Nice.
Just like that. And that makes it a lot easier to get out instead of having like a strip, and then its own piece on the bottom.
Dude, it's a hammock. It's a fudge hammock. Love it.
A little, yeah, it's like a little fudge hammock. All right, so now I'm going to pull all this paper, and I'm going to flip this over, peel it off the bottom.
Wow.
There we go.
That is a slab of fudge, all right.
That is a slab of fudge. All right, so now we're going to cut it. We're going to cut the fudge. And remember, like fudge is really rich. So you want to keep the pieces relatively small. You know, like don't like these, like the size of your fudge is not the size of like if this was brownies. You know, if this was brownies, this would probably be like maybe 15 brownies, 12 brownies. But because this is fudge, this is going to probably be like 40 pieces of fudge, right? You want to make sure they're a lot smaller.
Hey, Duff, come on. You got to level with the people. If those were brownies, it would be 4 brownies. 2 for you and 2 for me, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Depends on who's making the brownies. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a smaller piece here. All right, so I'm going to cut it like right about like this. And then you want to make sure to keep your knife clean, right? Because what happens is you get some of the fudge sticks to the knife. And then when you go to cut the next piece, all the stuff that's stuck to the knife sticks to the top edge of the fudge and it doesn't look clean. You know, it doesn't look nice. It looks a little messy. So every cut, just give your knife a little wipe.
Nice technique.
Yeah, and that will keep your fudge like really nice and clean and smooth. Yeah, look at that.
All about the presentation, campers.
Yeah, it's real important. It's real important to make sure that everything that you're making looks the way that you want it to make. Because if it looks a little sloppy, you know, people are like, well, it's probably going to taste good, but I'm not really all that excited about it. You want people to be stoked. Be like, man, I can't wait for this fudge.
You want them lining up in the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. And you really, you know, that little extra step of wiping off the knife, it just shows them that you're a pro. You know, this ain't amateur hour, right? Just,
Not at all.
yeah. Okay. So now let's get a little plate. Okay. I'll show you how nice the fudge looks.
Wow.
There it is, right? You see how like
Oh,
nice,
that's great.
square, and then you see because we kept all the walnuts really small, we got plenty of little walnut pieces all throughout the fudge, right? Instead of like one big stupid walnut.
Yeah, that's like a walnut. That's like a bite of nuts in every bite. That's awesome.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I mean, think of it like pizza, you know? Like with pizza, like if you just had like one big stupid pepperoni on your pizza, then, you know, some of your bites would have just cheese and some of it would be like way too much pepperoni. That's why you have a bunch of little pepperonis on a pizza as opposed to like, you know, one, you know, big dumb one. But unless you're talking about like Chicago pizza,
Ah,
you get like a Chicago deep dish pizza, then I'm gonna sit because we're gonna do questions now. But if you do if you go to Chicago and get a deep dish pizza, you get the sausage kind. What they do, so the pizza's like this big. They'll take a slice of sausage that's this big, and they drop it right into the pizza. So every slice has the exact same amount of sausage in it, and it's this giant disc of sausage. It's one of my favorite things. All right, so here's the fudge. You can see it's like really nice, like super square. Like you see how it's like really
Yeah. Yeah.
dark,
Nice.
really clean, right? This is what your fudge needs to look like. So let it cool all the way. Okay, don't don't like get impatient, be like, oh, I want it now, because it's not going to be ready.
Well, that's patience is difficult when you're making fudge, but that really presents beautifully. That is not sloppy fudge by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm.
Listen, while you're enjoying that, let me just do a quick call out. We're really proud to have the Boys and Girls Clubs of America as a partner, and we want to give a special shout out today to the Boys and Girls Club of Twin Cities in Minnesota, who served over, get this, 145,000 meals to families. So huge kudos to you guys, showing great passion, and we are psyched that you guys are making the world a better place. We did collect a ton of questions before we went kind of wonky there.
Okay.
So this is from Allie in Brooklyn, and asking, which cake was your biggest challenge yet of your career?
Oh man, the cake that was my biggest challenge. I think it was the X-Wing fighter on the finale of Buddy versus Duff this year. That was like I think that was probably the hardest cake we've ever made, but it was also the best, and I think the cake I'm most proud of.
How many hours did it take you, Duff?
It was a team of 5 of us, and it was 3 days, so 72 hours times 5.
Wow. Which brings up another question. You work, and it's clear from when we see you on television, you work a lot as a team. How important is that for you? And let me ask you a modest question. Could you pull it off if you didn't have that great team behind you?
No, not even close. Yeah, you're only as good as the people around you. You know what I mean? Like I am probably in all those shows, I'm probably the least talented cake decorator in there. I'm okay, but like the people that I work with are really incredible. And so it really takes a whole group of different people with different skills to kind of bring to like really like create something amazing, right? Like I'm okay, I'm good, but there are people that are better at painting than me. There are people that are better at sculpting than me. There are people that are better at and like engineering than me, right? So there's people that are really good at lots of different things. And to create the kinds of cakes that you see on TV, you need people with a lot of different skills. Nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills, bow fighting skills. What's that from?
Oh God, Duff. You are you got a photographic memory when it comes
What movie is that from? You don't even know, do you?
No, I don't think I do, but I got to be honest with you. I was looking at the next question already.
It's from Napoleon Dynamite. Come on.
Oh, love that. Just ate a burrito. Love that movie. All right, cool. Here's a question for you from Barrett in New York City. She's asking, she sees you doing so much sweet stuff. Have you ever in your career cooked main courses and savory, or have you always been focused on bread and dessert?
So in my career, I've done savory and I've done sweet. When I got on Food Network, I do it was for cakes. And so, now I do like judging on baking shows and stuff so everybody knows me for like sweet stuff, but I was also a cook for a long time. Like just last night, I made my wife a really good tenderloin and some roasted potatoes. They were delicious. But yeah, I love to cook. It's one of my favorite things. And I'm probably just as good at cooking than I am at baking.
Nice. So we only see one side of you, but that's nice to peel back the veil a little bit and know that you got some savory in your soul, dude.
I do.
Some salt in the wound.
I make really good chicken stew.
And let me ask you, here's a question from Antonio in Los Angeles, who wants to know if you like to listen to music while you bake.
I do like to listen to music. I like to listen to music when I do everything. I like to listen to music in the gym. I like to listen to music in the shower. I like to listen to music when I cook. Like I like listening to music all the time, constantly. Let's see if I some of my go-tos are definitely like Led Zeppelin, you know, always a good band to listen to when you're in the kitchen. What have I been listening to a lot lately? Yeah, Fela Kuti. He's an Afrobeat superstar from Nigeria. He's incredible. I listen to a lot of James Brown. There's a really good, if you guys want a really good music playlist, there's a really good playlist on Apple right now called Soul of a Nation, and it was put together by Quincy Jones. And there are some very great songs on that playlist. So Soul of a Nation.
Cool. Well, listen, I just got schooled by Kara in New Orleans that said it wasn't burrito in Napoleon Dynamite, it was quesadilla. So I blew that line. No wonder why I didn't get the reaction. But
when you said burrito, I was like, you just ate a burrito? Like, right? You know?
Yeah, I blew that line. Sorry. It is. Yeah. You just ate a dang quesadilla. All right. So.
Okay. First of all, the line is a dang quesadilla. They don't say quesadilla. It's quesadilla.
Okay. So last question here. We'll let you go. David in Sunrise wants to know, what's your favorite food movie that you ever seen? So where the theme is about food, if you have one.
My favorite food movie of all time is Ratatouille.
Right.
And not just like favorite food cartoon or like favorite kids movie. That's my favorite food movie of all time. And I think the reason why, one, it's just a wonderful story. And I really do believe that anyone can cook. It's really true. You know, it's something that, you know, if you apply yourself and you just have practice and, you know, you have patience and you just do it over and over and over again, you're going to get good at it. You know, you're not born with the ability to make fudge. You have to learn how to do it. But the other thing is there are some scenes in that movie where they're trying to visualize what flavor is, right? So that the Remy is like describing flavor. And then behind them, they show these like colors, like kind of swirling around. And it's the best visual representation of what I think when I try to describe what something tastes like. I think about the scene in Ratatouille. So if you haven't seen Ratatouille, probably one of the best, it's Pixar, right? One of the best Pixar movies out. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's great.
The scenes in the kitchen are very real. It's what cooking is like in there. You know, all the weirdos, all the pirates, all the crazy people that you work with in all the different kitchens. You know, there's a lot of crazy people out there.
That's great. And listen, it's a great thing for you guys to check out while you're still hunkering down during this crazy COVID climate that we're dealing with. Listen, Duff, can't thank you enough for spending this much time with us on your Sunday. I know you typically take a little R&R, but thank you so much, very, very, very much from our heart. You shared great passion. You were super cool under pressure. You dialed back in several times. We still got the fudge recipe. You had the swap out. Dude, thank you. You are brilliant and have always been a good friend of ours, and can't thank you enough. Thanks so much for spending time with us, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.